Hello and welcome back to the series where we try to conquer Pendor in 250 days. We're now on day 152. I think it's actually been maybe a day or so since the previous episode, because I have been, well, I was actually attempting, not sure if I succeeded, I don't think so, but there is no way for me to change the culture of my faction. I'm not sure whether I need to wait until my minister hires more people. Pretty sure that's what I need to do. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait for that, unfortunately. But yeah, because otherwise, now what's happening is a couple of the villages have been converted, shall we say, into Pendor culture. And so as a result, I can no longer recruit Empire troops from those places. And that is obviously a bit of an issue. To a degree. It's not that bad. You know, it's not that bad, but it is a little bit worrying because, of course, as you know, or, you know, as I've said multiple times now, the entire plan that I had was to focus on Empire Armored Crossbowmen because they are just too good. They are just too good to say no, you know? They are just really, really strong, and I personally would like to continue using them as much as possible. Unfortunately, as I say, only a handful of villages still have the Empire culture, so it is going to be a little bit worrying until we do have the ability to replenish them. And yeah, so I'm assuming, because we only have the Seneschal, we don't have the Chamberlain or the Constable. We don't have those guys, or we have the Chamberlain and we don't have the other one. Basically, I can't remember the three names, right, of the NPCs. I just know we have one of them, and we of course have our Minister. Now, I did replace the standard default NPC for the Minister, because I didn't have a companion at the time when we created our faction. I didn't have a companion that was actually capable of being the minister, because I didn't want to lose anyone, you know, because we had a bunch of really, really strong combatant companions, and we also had, you know, wonderful party skills companions, and I didn't want to lose any of them either. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to wait with implementing any particular minister until I had the ability to, you know, replace him with a decent-ish companion. And I found Idiz. I know. He's probably not very pleased about that, but I made him the minister. So he is now there, and I can only hope that he's going to say to me relatively soon. I'm not sure if it's going to happen that soon at all, but hopefully soon. And he's going to come to me and go, "Ah, yes, I've hired all these wonderful individuals to help you, sire," or whatever he calls us. And hopefully that's going to work. And then we'll be able to change our culture, because I've gone through the camp menu, I've gone through the ministers' menus, I've gone through the Seneschal / you know, whoever it is menu, and there's no way for me to change the culture right now. Not sure if I'm just missing it. Maybe that's the case. I'm going to let this guy go, because as you can see here, you have a feeling that the defeated lord almost likes your kingdom, which is great. And we're going to continue, you know, trying to get as much honor as possible. We'll just take the highest level stuff. And this is where we currently are. Yes, we are currently here. And we're having a bit of an issue, because I was actually going to attempt to take Sarlian. As you know, I was over here, but I made my way back because, well, we need to take it, right? Okay, so what we're actually going to do, and this guy's traveling to Harengoth Castle, so I'm going to do something that is extremely unintuitive, but I'm going to go to Avendor, okay? We're going to go to Avendor for a very specific reason, and that's because usually the three seers are around there, and we're going to see, maybe we'll get lucky with this. Yeah, there they are. Okay, so the three seers are over there. And I'm very much hoping that what we can do is we might be able to take this, and then the three seers will come along and try to, shall we say, just create a little bit of interference. I don't want them to be, you know, murdering us, of course, but I do want them to place some kind of interference. Whoa. It's a siege tower. No, that's not going to work. That is going to be a waste of time. Me thinking about that right now, that is a complete waste of time. Okay, we're going to have to do something a little bit shocking then. Okay, we're going to have to do something a little bit shocking here. We're going to have to go over this way. And hopefully we're not going to get stopped. There's Baron Hereward. We're going to actually have to fight him. This guy is the ruler or lord of Laria, as far as I remember. And he has Larian sentinels. These guys are good. You know, they're very, very good archers. And not a terribly big fan of that. But, you know, well, we're going to have to do our best against them. Let's get our archers to spread out just in preparation, just to make sure that they're prepared for whatever befalls us. And we're just going to place our people over here, put our cavalry off to the side a little bit. I'm just going to see if we can maybe bait the opponent a little bit. And they decided to charge in very early here, way earlier than my crossbowmen were ready, unfortunately. So now we're having this issue, and indeed, halberdiers. They're very strong. The halberdiers are extremely, extremely strong when it comes to cavalry. I do need to be a bit careful about dealing with them. I also need to be a bit careful about these Larian sentinels. They are very, yep, as you can see right there, very, very damaging. They can kill us quite quick, you know, and it's not a good idea. Not a good idea. I like to try to maintain my HP at least a little bit. We are having some problems with their cavalry here, but this is exactly the reason why it's a good idea to go in versus these slightly stronger vassals, just so that you can kind of eliminate them, get them out the way, and yeah, sure, okay, fine. They're going to be coming back, and they're going to be, you know, relatively strong all throughout the game, as long as they have fiefs available. Which does bring me to the next point. Did we want to take Laria first? That's the question. Usually what I try to do when I play against Sarlian is I try to take Laria quickly, because most of the time what I'm going to try to do is I will try to befriend the Noldor. But because I'm not actually doing that in this particular challenge run, because it takes too much time, in my opinion at least, yeah, we try to take Laria, and that obviously is an extremely good advantage. That's one of the best advantages you can have, because many times what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of Sarlian vassals running around in that area, and if you're having good relations with them, you can potentially get them to fight Noldor. They can take Noldor prisoner, and then they can come into your town, and they can maybe deposit them in the garrison there. I'm not sure if that actually works cross-faction, but all I know is that it does work with NPC lords. They can go in versus Noldor, and they can take them prisoner, and then they can place them in your prisoner's hold, and then you can take them out, and then you can release them, and that provides you with slightly additional relation as well as honor gains, and it can make a big difference. It can actually make a big difference, you know, surprisingly so. Not really that much in the sort of grand scheme of things, but every little bit helps, right? Every little bit can actually make a big difference in the end. There are those 2 books, of course, that you can get for Noldor relation if you want to go with that. So you don't really need to be super hard up to get neutral relation with the Noldor or anything like that. But from my perspective, I feel like it is indeed not a good usage of time. I think the time spent actually doing anything with the Noldor is not really going to do much, because as I say, a lot of time spent is going to be waiting and indeed baiting the Noldor themselves. Because even if, and now just think about this, even if we do get the Noldor into a friendly position, because what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get them to, as far as I'm aware, I think you need 10, 15, something like that. I think you need 10 or 15 or 20 or, you know, somewhere around there, relation for them to even provide you with the location of Elecray, which is the secret town. And if you have that, you can then participate in tournaments, from the 1st to the 4th every single month. And this is an insanely incredible way to gain some great gear. You're also going to be getting potential for Qualis gems and all that wonderful stuff. You're going to be getting some really, really cool things. Unfortunately, as I say, it is you having to wait. And there's 30 days. Just think about that. There are 30 days in a month in Warband. Most of the time, yeah, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see that most of the time in pretty much every single game that is based on realism. And indeed, that is a long time to wait for, in between tournaments. And every single time, you're gonna have to come over here to do the tournament in the first place. And if you're all the way over in Cinderfall or Ravenstone or something like that, and you're gonna have to travel all the way over there to be able to do, that tournament, it's a lot of time expense. And for this particular challenge, no, I think it's too much. I think it's one of those things where you just kind of have to forego doing the best, quote unquote best action. And I think the best action most of the time is just to ignore that. Just to ignore the Noldor and just focus on trying to make your army as good as possible, as much as it possibly can be, at least. Oh dear. Okay, I literally just, oh no, oh dear, I did not mean to go in here right now. I actually did not click, but I actually clicked to stop the time, and my mouse just happened to be on lead your assault. So we're gonna have a bit of a funny time here, because I was actually wanting to pause the game so that I could potentially see what was actually happening, because the three seers are very close to us right now. Yes, they are extremely close to us right now, and I am a little bit worried about that, actually. A bit worried that they are going to be able to catch up to us. I highly doubt it, to be honest, because most of the time the three seers run around with way too many troops, and as a result they are just going to, well, they're going to move like a snail, aren't they? They're going to move like a snail, or they're going to move like me when I'm trying to run away from a thrown weapon aimed at my face, the standard sort of stuff that normally happens. Because let's face it, we always like to take a thrown weapon to the face. Alright, so it's time for us to go in and actually destroy the individuals in the keep. I'm actually kind of surprised we weren't able to eliminate all of them, but, that's just how it goes. And, well, I always find that going into the keep is actually really fun. And basically, I just, by the way, I just stood outside, of course. That's generally what I tend to do. Alright, so I decided to come over to Laria. I know we had that little discussion about whether it would be a good idea to do that, but I thought to myself, you know what? Let's give it a go, right? Let's give it a go, because if we can take this and indeed give it to Lethal Durin or, even Roland, they're then going to be able to use Larian Sentinels in their armies. And I can imagine that that would be insanely strong, especially considering the fact that, Lethal Durin is already using a massive amount of very, very good archers and various other Knighthood Order units, and you can imagine how many amazingly powerful battles he could win just by having these troops in his party. And funnily enough, what is actually going on here right now? How are we killing every single Larian Sentinel right now? This is very strange. We've taken one casualty. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. I feel like the walls of Laria are not very good. The walls of Laria are extremely bad, actually. Look at how much damage we've done to these guys. I am so surprised. You know what? Let's charge. Let's actually charge. I'm 100% serious. Let's actually charge, because I am a little bit. I'm just speechless about this, to be honest. I don't really know what is happening. Oh, okay. Wait. No. They're both targeting me right now, so I should be a bit careful. There we go. Okay, be a bit careful. I kind of want to kill this guy if I can. My bow is still not very good, just so you know. So, it is going to be, kind of a little bit limp, which is not exactly great, but, it happens. And, yeah, so anyway, the main thing that we would also like to get is Rangers of the Clarion Call, because of course Larian Sentinels are not the main thing that you want from here, even though they are very good. You want the Rangers of the Clarion Call, because they're the ones that are actually going to be super, super nice on the fields of battle. However, as I said, having both of them is going to be great. So if we can succeed here, I'll be very, very pleased. I mean, so far, I mean, look at our damage right now. Our damage has been exceptionally good, and I gotta say, even if we sustain a huge amount of casualties here, which I think we will probably have, because it feels like that's one of these. It's one of those, you know, it's one of those sieges where we're actually going to be getting probably at least, I don't know, 15, 20 actual casualties rather than just wounded, even though Anson has 9 in surgery. Alright, so unfortunately I did get killed myself. However, we did get 100 renown for winning this, and indeed we are going to have to go into the streets. This is probably going to be relatively simple because most of the Larian Sentinels were indeed eliminated, and these fellows are, as you could tell, just trained infantry. Oh, actually this might be more difficult than anticipated. Yeah, we might have a bit of an issue here. Oh no, maybe not, never mind. Okay, yeah. I was actually a little bit worried there for a second, because as far as I'm aware, if you get eliminated in this as the player, I don't think your companions can continue it, as far as I remember. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. It's been such a long time since I have been eliminated in this, and that's not a boast. That is literally just a that is just a by the by sort of thing, because I can't remember what actually happens in that case. But Julia is an absolute monster, as you can see. She's just murdering absolutely everything. Kavera too. And indeed, here we go. The final encounter in Laria. Let's do this. All these longbowmen have no idea. Oh, Julia is here. Oh no, they don't know who they're dealing with. They don't know who they're dealing with. I'm actually very, very pleased we have Julia here, because she is... I'm not entirely sure what's actually up with her, but I'm going to show you her stats actually after this, because I am kind of a bit intrigued as to why she's so strong. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Anyway, oh, we got some ranger arrows. Oh, that's pretty nice. Okay, that's pretty cool. And let's see. Oh, clarion gauntlets. Okay, I'm going to be wearing that. Thank you very much. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And here we go. What do we have available? Okay, so we have got some Blackheart Knights. Oh, Jatu Lancers. I'll take some of those. Empire Armored Crossbowmen. Yes, thank you very much. We'll take some Knights, as well as some Legionnaires. We could take some Silver Mist Halberdiers, even though I'm not a big fan of them. And we can take some Jatu Raiders as well, because the Raiders do actually level up into Lancers, which is, in my opinion, okay. And we could also take some of these guys prisoner. Wow, we got a lot of prisoners right here. Surprisingly so. Alright, well, actually, you know what? I'll just take all of them, because I do have a load of space, and we might be able to find a ransom broker or something like that. That would be quite cool. Okay, so we're going to be giving this a lethal Durin. And then we're going to go into the marketplace. Yes, we're going to the marketplace, and then we'll see exactly what we can do. I will sell this saddle horse here, sell this, sell this, sell this. I think we could probably sell most things. Oh yeah, I have 6 in shield now, by the way. I did actually level up one more time, and we now have 6 in shield, so that is pretty wonderful, because we've been meaning to use this wonderful... Oh, well, no, I mean, I don't know whether it's wonderful, but it's battered. It is an upgrade, though, as you can quite clearly see. It is going to be a little bit, shall we say, a little bit dicey about whether we're going to get killed as a result of using it, because it is a bit of a thinner shield, you see. It's a slightly thinner shield, so it might be a bit problematic for us. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we do have... yeah, we're going to need a little bit more food. And there we go. And we're just going to go into the tavern. Let's hope, cross your fingers for a ransom. Oh, okay. We got Sorain right here. We got Leslie. We got an adventurer. Okay, we got a load of people that are pretty good. Not bad. Unfortunate, no ransom broker, though. No ransom broker. It would have been kind of wonderful to get one of those. The question is, do we want to get Frederick, or do we want to get Sorain, or do we want to get both of them? Because technically I could get both of them, and then we could create even more vassals. Alright, so I decided that I'm going to get both of them. I am actually going to get both of them, yes. And we're going to make them both vassals. Not sure if we're even going to be able to do that right now, but, you know, we're going to try. And this is exactly what Julia is statted like right now. Surprisingly enough, every single time I see her going on an absolute killing spree, she's using her two-handed axe. But yet, she only has 167 in two-handed weapon proficiency, which really makes me question what is going on with her. She is just absolutely beasting everything, and she's just using this. This is what I'm talking about. She's just using this chipped battle axe. It's absolutely terrible in comparison to this, isn't it? As you can see, look. It does only 40 cutting damage. This one is much better in almost every single respect. Why is she not wanting to use this? She didn't want to replace this. Very surprising. I'm not sure why she decided to do that. I'm going to give her some better arrows as well. Might as well take the spear away from her as well, because she's just going to be using this. She's going to get even more kills now, or at least she should, right? Right? I mean, I think so. Anyway, we'll see what we can do here. Okay, so Rain, I'm going to say, hello there. Would you be interested in holding a fief? What do you want? The question is... all of this is kind of terrible for him. We're just going to give him a village. Yes. Okay, I think that's a village at least. And we'll give Frederick something as well. I have no idea whether they're any good, by the way. They have 3... yeah, I mean, this guy has 3 leadership. I think they are pretty good because they both have upstanding personality types, as far as I remember. So, yeah, it should be decent enough. Okay, so we'll just give this guy something as well. There we go. All right. So, now all we need to do is we need to find... I could go to Ethos. Oh, yeah, Ethos is under siege. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Do I... the question is, do I go there and waste time trying to get a ransom broker? That's the question. Do I waste time doing that, or do I go over to Whitestack Castle and attempt to take that straight up? We could take Sarlian as well, technically. You know what? You know what? No. We're gonna be risky. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Not a terribly big fan of this. Not a terribly big fan of this, he says, going into battle against one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful enemies in the entire game. But okay. Okay, well, this is going to be a bit of a problem. Okay, well, we're going to have to use strategy here, and we're going to have to use our brains. I know. A rarity on this channel. And we'll see if we can actually do something relatively good here. One thing I need to do is I need to I need to make sure that they come over the hill so that they can get shot in the face. Funnily enough, though, I do feel as though the enemy is probably going to get the drop on us, because Noldor have the most incredible proficiencies anyone has ever seen. So it's probably going to be a bit difficult for us to make that happen, but we are going to try our best. Let's spread them out, spread our archers out. We just want to make sure that we don't get picked off, okay? So that means not standing in a clear line of sight. If we stand in a clear line of sight, we will die, and we will die very gloriously, and we do not want that. Okay. Yeah, this is not very good. This is bad. Oh dear. Alright, so here they come. They are actually starting to charge now, and this is pretty good for us, because if we can eliminate a lot of their cavalry first, then we shouldn't have that much to worry about as much, because if they have a couple of, you know, Twilight Knights or something like that, I don't know what they have, of course, but if they have Twilight Knights, then we are going to be in trouble. Seems like we're actually not doing too bad. They've got farmers? Why do they have farmers? I don't know why they have farmers, but I guess they must have rescued a couple of people. And we are now going to be telling our cavalry and our infantry to charge. And we are going to see... Whoa, I do not want to... Oh no, I do not want to go over there. I don't want to go over there. This is some bad news right here. This is such bad news. We're gonna have to... I don't even know what to do right now. The enemy is just too strong. I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna get killed doing this. I'm gonna get killed doing this. I am 100% aware of that fact. But I am doing this because I need to distract a little bit. Just a little bit, because otherwise we are going to lose way too many people. I mean, I've already eliminated about 50 of them, which is pretty decent, but we are going to lose so many people doing this. This is also the reason why generally it's not a particularly good idea to do any kind of siege next to Noldor territory unless you have them friendly. And obviously I didn't. So that is a bit of a problem. Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, they're actually running. Are they out of arrows? I think they're out. No, I don't think they're out of arrows. Oh, that's very strange. They're not out of arrows, but they are apparently deciding that they want to just get killed. I don't really understand that, but sure. And what do we have here? Oh no. Oh dear. Yes, we've got a lot of Noldor rangers and warriors coming in. And yes, we have a couple of farmers bringing up the rear as well. Okay, well that is a bit of a problem. I am actually going to stay in this battle, I think. We're going to stay in the battle and we're going to see what actually happens here. But there's 234 of them that we have to attack. And the only thing I can be really thankful for right now is the fact that we have a decent amount of cavalry. And that's it. That is the only thing that I can be thankful for here. Because cavalry versus Noldor, it's actually pretty good. You know, no matter, even if you're fighting Noldor, as long as you have some cavalry, it's not as bad, right? It's not as bad. It is still bad, but it is a little bit more doable than if you didn't have them. And I think these guys are all rangers, aren't they? If these are rangers, we might have some problems. But if they're warriors, then maybe it's going to be okay. But I think they're all rangers. Yes, I think they are all rangers. Okay, I need my crossbowmen to come over here as soon as possible. I need them to literally get over here right now. If they could book it, I would be extremely pleased. Feels like they're taking a long time to get anywhere, to be honest. They seem to be taking a long time to make up their minds about what to do. But, you know, they are indeed very heavily armored, so it does take them a while to get anywhere. I am still extremely surprised, though, that our cavalry are managing so well. Huh. And, funnily enough, I think we've won this. And there it is. Look at that. Okay, so we did get 63 renown for this, and indeed we ended up losing a huge number of troops. But I think this might be worth it, surprisingly. I think this might be worth it. Let's actually see what happens. Yep. As you can see, loads of things being taken here. We got some Noldor trade goods, various loot. We also got a selection of very nice stuff. And I'm thinking to myself right now, do I want to take the Noble Shield? Do I want to take the Noble Shield? That's the question. I am actually unsure about that. But I wouldn't mind keeping the bow around, just in case, because I'm using a short composite bow, and it would be wonderful if I could use a slightly better one, wouldn't it? I'm going to take this. We're going to speak to Julia, because I know that she, for a fact, I think has more. Yep, she does. So there you go. Immediately, massive upgrade for her. I'm actually not entirely sure. Who else uses a bow? I don't think Kavera uses a bow, right? No, she's like a thrown weapon person or something, right? Yeah. She's a thrown weapon person. So basically, Adonia, I don't think is a bow person. No, I don't know why she is using these, by the way. I have no idea why she decides that she wants to take those instead of something else, but, you know, that's just how things are. I'm not even going to I'm not even going to talk to her about it. So we're just going to take this shield just in case, I guess, and then we can hopefully capture a couple of... Oh yeah, we can rescue some people too. I really need to rescue some people and actually get my people back up to scratch, because otherwise we're going to start losing battles just purely because I don't have the power, you know, because we got a load of Empire Armored Crossbowmen killed in that one, and we really need to make sure that our power level is remaining relatively even, because you can see here I had about 80 to 90 Empire Armored Crossbowmen only a small amount of time ago, and now we only have 62. Now, I say only, it's still a good amount, don't get me wrong, it's still a very, very good amount. And look at this, we actually took quite a few people prisoner here. I think that's because our heretic worshippers, which we have 13 of, they have blunt weapons. I think some of them have blunt weapons at least. So that's very, very useful. I don't think there's anything else here that I really want to take. So I'm going... I guess I could take the Empire levies. I suppose that's probably decent-ish. Okay, well that was kind of... yeah, that was kind of bad. I guess what I could do now is I could just let these guys go. I release you all from your chains, and you are free to go home. There we go. So look at what we get. You see that? We gained 11 renown. We gained an insane amount of relation and as well as honor. And you can say that you want to release all of them, and then they're all gone, and then you get massive amounts of boosts for that. Now, I'm just showing you this because obviously it's a good idea to do it if you want to, you know, try to make the Noldor like you a little bit. But obviously, it doesn't really give me anything. And generally, as far as I'm aware, you can't convince them to join you. So even if you were to try, that is not going to work. Anyway, do we want to continue this siege? I have a bad feeling that I probably shouldn't. Let's be a little bit careful, okay? Let's just be a little bit careful. If I see Noldor, I'm just going to literally pause straight up. I see Salian vassal. Okay, let's go in. I am thinking... Sally out, sally out, sally out, please. No, no sally out. Okay, very sad, very sad. We might still have the capability to win this to a degree. Not a terribly big fan, actually. Not a terribly big fan of this. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, I'm going to move my archers over here. I'm going to put them into a spread out formation. And then we're just kind of trying to level them out, basically. We're just trying to level them out so that the enemy doesn't have so much of a height advantage. And then we're just going to try to get them line of sight. That's basically going to be the main issue for us right now. This is indeed one of the more difficult castles, in my opinion, even though there are 3 ladders. 3 ladders definitely makes this much easier to a certain extent, but on the other hand, you also have a very fiendish layout. Once you get up there, it's quite tricky. Oh, there we go. Julia on an absolute tear once again, absolutely murdering all these guys in the keep here. Alright, so we are now here at Valor Shield Castle. Unfortunately, once again, not getting... Oh, wow. Okay, we didn't get a sally out, but that does not matter. The sally out does not matter in any way. This has to be one of the most insane siege layouts I have seen in quite some time. I remember that there was a thing like this, but to be reminded of it right now, especially considering the fact that we have an army that is basically specifically designed to completely murder these people, this is just, I mean, look, I would be surprised if we lose even one person. Alright, so we're actually going in right here, and this is a rare sight for me, because usually I'm not going to lead from the front here, because I generally think it is a bit more efficient for me to just, you know, stay alive and try to provide my party skills as much as possible, even though I only really have pathfinding is pretty good. I mean, let's face it, pathfinding, tactics, etc., pretty good for what we need to do, especially considering if we do come up against a vassal or some fight that really needs to be handled with care. See the Noldor fight, of course. Then we are going to need that tactic skill. And even though Donovan does have a little bit of a backup amount of skill in tactics, it's a little bit likely that he's also dead. So, those kinds of things happen. But the funny thing is, I actually really enjoy going in, especially in a siege like this. I really enjoy going in and just fighting a little bit, old school style, just throwing caution to the wind and just being like, yeah, I'm in here, I'm slashing, I'm bashing, and all that wonderful stuff. It really is very, very fun. I've used all my arrows, by the way, so I'm not going to be able to shoot this fellow, but yeah, it was good. We got 15 kills, not too bad. I did take a little bit of damage, unfortunately, but Anson's going to fix us up in no time. And we really have to keep a little bit of a mental note about this particular siege, because this fief, you don't want to defend this ever. In person, that is. You never want to defend this in person, because otherwise you are literally just going to die. If you're up against, a particular army that has a bunch of ranged troops, then, I wish you the best of luck, but it is not going to be a very good idea. Let's just say that, because they are just crazy. The amount of arrows and bolts that I saw just flying straight into the opponent as they died before me, well, it's not even worth, it's not even worth doing anything about that. It's just literally just leave it, just leave it. Anyway, this guy actually has a bad personality. However, he does apparently like our kingdom, so I will continue to let him go, these fellows, even though they don't really like us that much. I mean, they like our kingdom. So the only thing that I'm really trying to do here with this is I'm trying to make it so that they potentially join us and don't join other factions. Because that's one thing that can happen in Pendor specifically that can be extremely bad. If you have a vassal that defects and goes to someone else, you can actually have a pretty big problem on your hands, because most of these vassals can field really large armies. And if you literally have a situation like that where people are leaving and they are making themselves even stronger, like for example, let's just say that a bunch of people from, I don't know, Sarlian or wherever, they basically decide, oh yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go over to the Ravenstern. And so now the Ravenstern are super, super strong, and then you're going to be having even more issues. So that generally tends to be a bit of a problem. Anyway, we're going to be giving this to Lord Frederick here. I have given one to Sir Rain already. I gave the previous one to Sir Rain, and now we are giving Lord Frederick Valshield Castle, and there it is. Okay, so that is what we've done. Bit of a weird situation, because I personally don't really like going for castles here, but I kind of wanted to make sure that we had a bit of a consolidation in this area. A bit weird that we've got these Empire fiefs as well. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest, but maybe the Empire will declare war against us at some point, and then we'll be able to, further crush them into the ground, and then we'll be pretty happy with that. But yeah, anyway, we've got 300 troops now, and what I need to do is I need to go over to Marlians. This is a bit of a... Not sure. Not sure if we can actually make this work. The one thing we need to do is just check how many people are actually in Talon Castle. Yeah, okay, never mind. They fully garrisoned that, because if you recall, Talon Castle was actually a fief of the Ravenstern. And I think that they took it back sometime, and apparently they definitely garrisoned it with a huge amount of people. Anyway, Marlians does seem pretty good for us. Look at that, 655 only, and indeed ladders. It is a ladder castle as well. So we are going to end this episode off here, but next time we're going to continue our conquering of Sarlian, and what we're going to do is we're going to do Marlians, and then we're going to do Sarlian itself, and then we might go for Avendor. I'm not a big fan of it because it does take 36 hours for us to build any kind of siege tower, which is a lot of time, but we might need to do it. We very much might need to do it. So anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.